We've all heard of it, right? Servant leadership. It's held up as the gold standard, the ideal for every modern empathetic leader. But what if the way we've been practicing it is actually all wrong? Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating paradox behind one of the most beloved leadership philosophies out there.
And man, Simon Sinek just nails it with this one. This idea that real leadership is about care, not control, it's just so powerful. It's the very heart of what made servant leadership catch on like wildfire. It's a noble and incredible foundation. But, and this is a big but, the story definitely doesn't end here.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The promise of service. For years, this has been talked about as the absolute best way to lead. We're going to unpack exactly why it got so popular and what makes it feel so right in the first place. At its core, it's a really beautiful and simple idea. You just flip the traditional pyramid upside down. Instead of the leader sitting at the top, they're at the bottom, holding everyone else up. Their job isn't to command and control, but to listen, to empathize, and to basically clear the road so their team can succeed. And listen, this isn't just some feel-good theoretical idea. The data totally backs it up. Companies that really embrace servant leadership see tangible results. Happier clients, people actually stick around longer, and they even call in sick less. It's pretty clear. When leaders serve, teams just thrive. It seems like a total win-win.
So with all this evidence, you'd think it's a closed case, you know? Servant leadership is the answer. It creates better workplaces, it gets better results, it sounds absolutely perfect, but is it really?
And this is where our story takes a really interesting turn. What if, in our excitement to adopt this whole philosophy, we've completely overlooked a critical, hidden flaw? What if the modern version of servant leadership actually comes with a hidden price tag? This is the one question we really need to wrestle with. What if our obsession with measuring the return on servant leadership is the very thing that's accidentally killing it? So for anyone who's not in the business world 24/7, ROI, return on investment, is king. It's a simple idea. When a company spends money on anything, whether it's new computers or a fancy leadership program, it has to be able to show how that money is going to lead to even more money coming in. And this quote just gets right to the heart of the problem. As servant leadership became big business, with all the books, seminars, and coaching programs, the focus shifted. It became less about the genuine, selfless act of serving and way more about justifying the expense. The why we were doing it got replaced by, so what do we get out of it? To really wrap our heads around this shift, let's use a super simple analogy that comes from the source material. It's called the moving day test, and honestly, it makes this whole thing crystal clear.
Okay, imagine your friend asks you to help them move. In one scenario, they offer you pizza and beer as a thank you. That's a relational thing, right? It's about friendship. But in the other scenario, they offer you $500. Now, it's a business transaction.
The second that money gets involved, something fundamental just changes. One is an act of friendship. You do it out of goodwill. The other one? That's a job. And with it come all these expectations of performance and payment.
And that is the crucial point. When we try to justify service with its ROI, we turn it from this act of genuine care into a cold, hard transaction. We're no longer serving just for the sake of serving, we're serving to get something back.
All right, so if ROI is the problem, then what's the solution? How do we get back to the real heart of this philosophy? Well, it's not about throwing the whole idea away, but instead it's about reframing it. It's a really subtle but incredibly powerful shift in our mindset.
The answer that's proposed in our source material is this concept right here: servant-minded leadership. It's such a small change in language, but it represents a gigantic change in our intention.
Adding that little word minded is a really deliberate choice. It forces us to be conscious, to be aware of our intentions. It helps us move away from a transactional mindset, where we're just executing a program to get a calculated result, and moves us towards a relational one, where we have a genuine desire to support and lift others up.
And here it is, the fundamental difference, laid out plain and simple. The ROI-focused approach, no matter how good it sounds, is ultimately about extraction. It's asking, what can I do to get more from my team? But servant-minded leadership is all about contribution. It asks, how can I make the biggest impact for my team? The first one is a transaction, the second one is a gift.
And that really leaves us with one last, really important question to think about. Think about your own leaders, or maybe even your own leadership style. Is the service you see a true gift, something that's offered freely with no strings attached? Or is it a transaction, an investment that's made with a quiet expectation of a profitable return? The answer to that question reveals everything.